This time less of a rant and more of a, hey, what the fuck's going on in terms of whatever my illness is. Because, I don't know, the last week or so, things have kind of taken a pretty bad turn for the worst. It could all be psychosomatic, of course. We never know. So, I had to take a day off work, the second full one, and yeah, I'm just leaning back because it's easier. I couldn't sleep that night. That's become more and more of a problem. Not so much like, I'm not like up all night coughing or anything even vaguely like that. It's almost like insomnia, okay? And you could say, well, okay, that's stupid, whatever. Last night, actually, I took some kind of flu medication type pill. I take a half dosage of that when I take it. We'll get to that later. I don't like taking them for various reasons, but they're worse now than they ever were before. But there's this dichotomy between whether or not, I need sleep for health. I definitely need sleep. I can tell. If I don't get sleep, I feel terrible. Really terrible. If I do get sleep, it's a crapshoot of how well I feel. But with the pill, I may feel worse now. Or maybe it has nothing to do with the pill. Who knows? So anyway, sort of the standard stuff. I'm getting a little disoriented sometimes. My fevers happen, maybe not. Headaches. Always the cough. But the thing that's been happening is now I'm feeling like this constant light pressure on the top of my chest. I heard an old woman describe it and I realized, I know what I have because of that. Because I've been kind of feeling it. Like, I don't really want to breathe more than I can't breathe. Like, all along I've been able to breathe in, but I've been taking shallower breaths. Why? I don't know. Because of this light feeling of pressure. Well, that light feeling of pressure, what she described, and she had a much, much worse condition, had to be on the ventilator and everything. What she described was someone sitting on her chest. And I realized, I feel exactly like you do when there's a cat lying on your chest. Except that there's not something pleasant there purring that I can pet. But seriously, yeah, it's like that all amount of weight. And this sort of vague desire, I don't want to disturb it, actually. So I don't breathe in deeply. I'm also getting a fair amount of phlegm now, which hasn't been the case, but I just ate an orange, and that tends to bring it up. Okay. So, whatever. The other thing I've noticed is a little bit of a wheeze up here in my chest. And, I've had situations where I think it's asthma or some kind of allergy or something that cuts my breathing off completely. And it's kind of like a choking type thing. And peanut butter does it, but sometimes I just choke and the same reaction comes. So I don't know, I don't know if that's just choking or whatever. I know when I was a teenager, but I was really out of shape, I used to have, like a young teen especially, I used to have real trouble breathing during allergy season. And like they'd send us out for a run or whatever, and I'd just be like on the ground wheezing. But I didn't have like the constant, like, I've been tested for asthma a couple of times, and the doctors are always like, no, there's nothing wrong with your lungs. I'm like, okay. Something affects me, it might be an allergic reaction, but isn't that what asthma kind of is? I don't know, what do you expect? That I'm going to be presenting my worst case when I'm in a sterile doctor's office and not out in the hay? But, anyway. So things have been declining pretty badly the last couple days, I guess, where I don't know if that weight's getting any heavier, but the wheezing, and then it feels almost like, I tried to explain this to my wife, and she seemed to understand, but I'm not sure I do. There's something that has a little ball on top that opens up and lets water in, and I think it's in the toilet. But it might be in a fish tank or something like that. My brain's not working very well anymore. And that's what it feels like I have inside my chest. Is some little thing that's like, it clogs it and then it opens up, and it clogs and opens up, or something like that. That's kind of the noise it's making, this rattling noise in there. I just feel like there's like some mechanical thing happening here. I know that's not the case. It's probably a lump of phlegm. That's in place. Anyway, the biggest things that are worrying me right now is that rattling around at the top of my chest. I've never had anything like that. Like I'm sure I've had walking pneumonia a couple of times. I'm not a doctor's person, but I've had some really deep, seated lung issues that have lasted for weeks and weeks and weeks, sometimes a couple of months, coming back and forth and whatever. This isn't like that. This is way up here. The tickling in the throat is not so much, or maybe I don't notice it so much because there are other things. I'm getting a lot of drainage now, which I wasn't before. But that seems to just be today and yesterday. But I think I'm starting to see some other things, like those shallow breaths, and this is where I blame the pill, are increasing the amount of dizziness, probably due to lack of oxygen in the blood. I've heard a few things about this where, people are coming into the hospital seemingly fully functional, and they check their blood oxygen, and it's like they shouldn't be able to walk with it. And, look, the human body's an amazing thing. You get really low blood oxygen levels in people when they're up in the mountains and stuff, too. So it may be that it's just a matter, because it gradually is happening, that the body's able to shift into a different format and maybe turn some things off. And that's why I feel dumb, dumber than usual. And I totally fucked up the game I'm playing. I have to restart. In part because of this, in part because I fuck things up, right? The other thing I'm noticing that's really kind of weird, my veins are sticking out. I never did that before. Like, old people's veins stick out, Maybe there's some relationship between whatever's changing in my body right now and those age-related changes. And I'm getting a lot of strange pain just in this hand, surrounding the thumb and the wrist area. Kind of feels numb, as if like, something, I don't know, as if I was lying on something. And that was my first thought when I woke up, except that my other hand also has the veins sticking out and everything. Like, I think the blood flow maybe to the extremities is being cut down or something, or getting less oxygen. There's enough getting sucked out that when it gets to the extremities, it's an issue. My ankle has been bothering me more too, but I don't think that's a relationship to this. But it might be. It might be the arthritis, and everything is beginning, is more troubled because of the lack of oxygen. But yeah, I'm feeling like an idiot all the time. It's the feeling that I used to get off antihistamines when I would take them, and now I'm realizing they probably prevent blood flow to the brain or something, because they cut off the blood going into your nose and everything, so they probably also cut down the amount of blood that's going to your brain, and that's why they make you feel stupid, and that can't be good. I've always looked at them as like, I don't like what they do, but I can't stand not having them. But I hated what they did so much that if I was going to be awake, I wouldn't take them. I would only take them to go to sleep. But anyway, the green pill did a similar kind of thing and probably cut things down worse. And Jesus, I feel so stupid. Oh, so then, the obvious answer, why don't you call a doctor? Why don't you get tested? All right, so initially, it was definitely all kind of excuses not to get tested. Well, nobody gets tests, etc. At this point, I assumed that there were tests available. I looked up on our county website, and they had a little app, or a little chat box type thing, but it's not really. It's just select answer. It's really a quiz box, but it tries to act like a chat bot in terms of how it talks to you. But it doesn't take any input, which sucks because I really could use that. And they're like, well, can you get a test? And so the first set of symptoms that they ask you to do are pretty much life-threatening. It's like you're going to die within the next 10 minutes if you don't have something happen, it sounds like. The next set includes things like having difficulty breathing when climbing stairs and stuff like that. And that's not happening to me. I'm not having difficulty breathing. I'm having these shallow breaths with this weird rattle, and I can take deep breaths if I want to. Now, I gotta tell you, there's no way in hell I'm gonna go shopping this week with my cart. I can't do it. But yeah, basically I fell into the category where what they said is, well, you're sick and we're sad for you and you might well have COVID, but just stay at home and chill out and try not to die. Basically. I have access to some kind of virtual doctor type thing. I don't know, you call in, you see a doctor. And I gotta find the info on that. But yeah, I don't know what the fuck here's the problem. They don't know how to cope with this. So there's no treatment. There's nothing they can do for me that can help. If I'm bad enough that they need to hospitalize me because they need to put me on a ventilator, they need to, maybe, I don't know, whatever the fuck they do, they need to at least give me oxygen. That's fine. But I'm not there yet. So, yeah, what are they going to do with the test? And it's not like they're using the test for anything. And it's not like I would be able to live without fucking making my way to the store anyway. And I'm probably no more contagious than I was 2 months ago, 3 months ago. What? Yeah. Just about 3 months ago that this started. And now at least the news is finally catching up with, yeah, there were people who had it, back then. But the thing that I find kind of intriguing is I feel like somebody who has had on and off confirmed during this time should be something of interest. And I don't know how to get that information, That would be the reason for me to get tested, really, is... And the reason I might be able to get someone to actually do the test, because again, my county, they're not doing the test. There are other places in the country that are. Obviously, non-third world countries can manage this, Places like Taiwan are able to handle this. The U.S., nah. This country has just gone to shit so much. And some of it, they're politicizing the epidemic. That's a sign of a completely non-functional and sick society. But yeah, all right. So yeah, I'm definitely now beginning to feel a little bit more concerned about this because each time it comes back, I'm not sure about each time. The first time I think was worse than the second, but it just it's starting to get worse and worse. It's like it's getting into different parts of my body and doing worse and worse things. And that's the whole thing. The first one, I could pass off as a cold. And when I started hearing about corona, I'm like, ha ha ha, maybe that's what I have. Now, I've moved from that 80% to about 95% certain, just because of the nature of the symptoms that I'm having. Chest pains, so far not much with the liver, although my urine has been coming out stronger, i.e., there's less liquid going through me than there would be. And if anything, I'm drinking more pure water than I was before. So my body is drinking up the water, whatever that means. But yeah, there's other things, I don't know what the fuck. But it's like I've been through so many rounds of this that were nothing, and now it's starting to like just really feel like I'm just falling apart at this point, physically. I mean, emotionally not nearly that much. I've still got but at this point I'm starting to get the Jesus. I might be one of the ones who has to get hospitalized eventually, because it's not getting any better. And each time it comes back, it is getting worse. And I don't know how many more steps of worse there are going to be before I'm not breathing, before I slip into a coma from lack of oxygen or something like that. Because, I'm walking around feeling a little dense is kind of the thing. It's like when you wake up from a nap or something. Anyway, I don't think I can do shit anymore. I couldn't play my game without fucking it up, and I am much dumber than I was when I tried that. At this moment, I can maybe sit at the computer and play like a dumb computer game, or just like lie down. Lying down is kind of unpleasant, but I feel like sleeping again. All right, anyway, ciao.